I'm about to crochet at my house. So today is a slightly different video. It's all about a Homcom scooter slash kickbike. So here we're just opening the box. These plastic things around it were kind of a pain. And I just used a screwdriver to tear through the tape around the top. So this Homcom was off of Amazon. It came very quickly and it was £70, so it's kind of a middle range kickbike slash scooter. So here we're just getting all the parts out, starting with both wheels. The bigger one is the front one and the smaller one is the back wheel. And that's a couple of different parts. There's the instructions, which weren't super helpful, but it's better than nothing. And just now, you can see I'm struggling a wee bit. I am trying to pull out the main frame plus the handlebars, and I kind of that's all of the pieces out of the box. I was just checking, making sure everything was out, and get the box out the way. So here we move on to taking off all of the packaging. There was a lot of bubble wrap all around the main frame. There was also some around the handlebars and a few other things. There's the little stopper that you saw us moving around, and there's another one on the other wheel. And the bubble wrap around the foot plate was the most difficult to get off, as it was slightly sandwiched between the plate and the frame. But otherwise it was pretty easy to take off, and there was no scrapes or anything on any of the paint, so it came nice and pretty and pink. As you can see here, it was a bit of a struggle taking the bubble wrap off of the area between the plate and the frame. I eventually got it off. I think there was still a piece stuck at the time, but I did get it out later on. So taking off the bubble wrap, and it's leading on the wall now, so I can get to the other side. This really was the most annoying part of taking the bubble wrap off, trying to get out of that space. Otherwise, it came in really good condition, and I'm happy with it. So here I just released the back brake, and then the front brake got released. Then we started moving on putting the wheels on, which putting the wheels on was fairly simple. You just had to slot it in, and then there's a kind of washer with a sticky out piece, and it goes in a hole that's further up on the metal frame. The only struggle we really had with putting this all together were the brakes. We do actually know somebody, so we went to them and got them to start the brakes, but they do bikes all the time, so they knew what they were doing. But yeah, we didn't really know what we were doing with the brakes, so if you plan on getting one of these, I would recommend that you went to a bike shop or something and got a hand, because they're not the easiest to get on. We got them on, but the wheels weren't turning too well. I think here, while we're working on the back wheel, you might be able to see the washer with the piece that sticks out. Yeah, here. If you look closely, there's a little washer that I was spinning around, and I slotted it into this little hole that's right next to this base where the wheel gets slotted. That's the washer that holds it in place. I thought that was quite interesting. I haven't seen that before. We moved on to working on the brakes, and as you can see, we were trying to get them to tighten and connect properly, but the problem we were having was once we'd got the brake done the way they kind of told us in the instructions, the wheels didn't necessarily want to turn, so that was kind of a bummer, but at least we got them sorted later. So here we moved on to the front wheel. Oddly enough, the brake on the front was a lot easier to set up. We did put them up the wrong way at first because the brake pads aren't positioned in the right place. Now, otherwise, the front wheel was easier for whatever reason. There we're just tightening up the wheel, and then I'm going to mess around with the brakes a bit. Here I was just messing around with the part that goes around the top part of the handlebars. So here I put the the brakes up. They were trying to figure out how to put them up, while also still working on tightening the wheel. Then we moved on to working on the handlebars. Now, I don't know if this is a common thing with handlebars, but the pole goes into the main frame was up in front of the bars, so we had to loosen off the section around the bottom part of the handlebars to flip the pole down the right way, which was fairly easy to do, just a little bit time consuming. So while we watch that going on, I'll just talk a little bit about how it rides. So it goes downhill very nicely, flat is quite good too. Uphill I can do, it's a little bit more work, but I can do a little bit of that. It works well on most terrains as well, so I could use it on the path, grass, dirt, rocky areas, basically wherever. The only things I will say is if you go through a puddle, you're definitely going to get a bit wet because it does splash up, and it's not really for sand, but for most other everyday terrain it works perfectly fine. Now it takes quite a while to loosen it off the hole that goes down, but eventually we're going to flip it up and then retighten it. So here we flip the pole up the right way, and then we tighten it up so that it stays securely in place. Now at first we did just start trying to do this using the spanners both at the same time, but I quickly realized that I can tighten it up some with my fingers after trying to do this, because it kept sliding off because it was so loose. So yeah, fingers first, and then we flipped up the handlebars and got them into the main frame. I do apologise about this bit, it's a little bit choppy, happens sometimes when you're trying to move the camera to show what's on screen, or at least what's supposed to be on screen. After this I was just hunting around trying to find the spanner that I'd been using. And then got up to get that sorted. So there's a part right at the top of the pole where you're supposed to tighten it up, and that was me kind of messing around being silly because the camera was so low down and it was mostly just seeing my butt. So yeah, we got it tightened up and straight. It was a fairly easy part to do. Did need tightened up after I was finished up. So if you have any questions regarding the scooter slash kickbike, feel free to leave them in the comments down below, and like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you get notifications every time I put up a new video.